Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And just a disclaimer to start this video off, this is going to be a longer video. This is the in-depth take after earnings, after the call, with some additional updates. And I decided to pull up this operating metrics slide from the official slides. I think this breaks everything down very well, and this will help this will be a good placeholder for this video. So overall, great quarter for Verizon. Stock was up pre-market. It's up now that the market is open. It popped over a little over 5%, and that's good for Verizon. So many analysts and their reports, they're signaling this is the turnaround for Verizon that everyone has been waiting on. So I will caution that in this video. Again, that's my opinion. I will give you guys additional commentary as to why I think you need to watch out before making that claim. And you guys have heard me say that in previous videos. Q4 is a nothing burger for me because I need to see that translate into Q1, Q2, and Q3. But let's go over the numbers here. So on the left at the top, you see consumer. At the right, you see business. So for Q4, they added 318,000 consumers. That's the consumer business. And then 131,000 on the business side. That's how they came to the total of 449,000 total ads for the quarter. So that's a good metric. As you can see, backtracking, if you look at, again, like I mentioned, Q4 is a nothing burger for me. Go back to Q4 of last year, 2020 or 2022. They added 41,000, which they considered, oh, we got momentum, we're improving. And then look at Q1, Q2, and Q3. They took losses in each of those quarters. And now in Q4, they have another positive quarter. So it's likely, and they already told the market to embrace for this during the call. So the first increase in price is hitting Q1 as business. So they already said churn is going to be up for business. The biggest part of churn for the consumer increase that's coming in March, I think that will trickle into Q2. So they will likely wait to signal that to the market. They will wait a little bit longer to signal to the market like, hey, consumer side is going to be experiencing some churn. So the churn for this quarter for the pure postpaid side was 0.88%. I was listening in. I know I saw on the sheet this morning 0.93%, but on the call they clarified that it's 0.88%. But with these new price increases coming, especially the one on consumer, I fully anticipate that churn that bubble to go well above 1%. I'm thinking like 1.1, 1.2 at least for a stretch. It's not going to be the entire year, but I fully anticipate that to be high for a stretch because it's affecting so many people on the base. Such a large part of the base is affected by this new price increase that hits March 1st. So then we're looking at fixed wireless access broadband ads. Some analysts labeled it as soft. The growth is soft. So they came in at 375,000 ads for fixed wireless access, 38,000 for Fios, which total 413. Some analysts are expecting Verizon to do closer to 500,000 on FWA because of all the C-band that's out there now. And they broke that down very well. So we'll also discuss that in this video. And then you see the prepaid. I mean, prepaid is a mess. It's a disaster. There's absolutely nothing positive to report on any of the quarters, even backtracking year over year to Q4 of 2022. It's all been a negative. Nothing really positive to talk about there in terms of momentum. So one thing that Hans did mention that they went into Q4 with momentum, I feel like that wording is a bit off. I feel they created the momentum in growth by how aggressive they were competing for customers. They were throwing out money left and right. Any iPhone in any condition, that's a big deal. You guys heard me say that early on in the quarter when I gave you guys my commentary. Giving out an Xbox Series S or X for the FWA, that helped get people in the door and probably helped increase the percentage on converged offers with wireless and FWA. I guarantee you those numbers are up. So that overall, it was a solid quarter, right? The free cash flow came in at like 18.7 billion. So solid quarter, right? So here's where I think the street and the market needs to be cautious in terms of putting out, okay, this is the turnaround, right? The price increases. Q1, they already signaled Q1 weakness. So they're probably going to be negative on net ads for Q1. Then you go into Q2 with your largest price increase to consumer ever. When they did the $3 price increase, there was already a churn bubble with that one. This one is also going to create a churn bubble and potentially even a bigger churn bubble. So Q2 is likely already a negative in my book. So then you have 2 quarters to try and be positive. And I think Q4 of 2024 is probably going to be another positive quarter. It's the holiday season. You guys have heard me say that before. So I think that's how they will approach that. I think this is the year where I truly believe Verizon stays promotionally more heavy. Usually they reduce promo, but I think this year they compete a bit heavier. They saw the results. It's it's what the market wants. They want to get free phones. They want to get $200 gift cards. So it seems like Verizon may continue spending to continue to try to grow the base. And if they see the churn is too high and they feel, okay, this would be too big of a loss to post, then they will ramp up promotions throughout the quarters. That's what I feel, because they can't let this spiral out of control again, because that would be a negative impact. The stock is starting to rebound, so they need to balance that approach. So one thing that they discussed, which I find very interesting, is they identify markets as tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I assume tier 1 are all the big metro markets and maybe some mid-sized markets. And then tier 2 and tier 3 are probably more of rural-ish, suburban-ish markets. So Verizon is now taking the regional approach. They made that very clear today during the Q&A. And that's where they mentioned tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So I think the tier 2 and tier 3 markets from a regional perspective are probably receiving different promotions, different deals, different pricing that's not being seen nationally. I can't confirm that just yet. I'll have to ask, but I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's the right approach. And I've mentioned that. You guys have heard me say that. As T-Mobile got the opportunity first to move into those markets with mid-band, soak up the opportunity, get them on FWA, T-Mobile has already established and deepened their relationship with those customers in those parts, in those tier 2, tier 3 markets. So now the only way for Verizon to get those customers back, or to get that customer even looking in Verizon's direction, they have to present them with a better deal. They just have to do it. It has to be a better deal. You can't come in with your premium mindset, your higher pricing. You're not gonna be able to get that customer even looking your way. So that's what I feel Verizon is going to do. They're going to move into those smaller tier 2, tier 3 markets with a regional approach, different pricing, different deals that you will not see on a national campaign. I truly believe that, and they're kind of hinting towards that when they say regional approach. Then they say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 market. I think that's what they're doing. I truly believe that's what they're doing, that they are approaching those smaller markets with different pricing, different promotions, and that's how they're competing across the U.S. And I think that's something that Sampath, who's now in charge of the consumer group, he's the one that's been implementing that, and it seems to be a work in progress on that one. So another thing too, C-band, again, as the C-band scales, apparently in those markets that have significant C-band at scale, churn is lower, ARPU is up. So that means people are choosing the higher end offerings and people are sticking around on the newly built C-band mid-band network. So that's a good positive. Also something to note during the remarks of Hans Vestberg, he said 13.1 million customers of the total base are now on the My Plan. Seems relatively low, but the My Plan hasn't been in play for too long. and we will see how long they keep it in play. They might retire that plan at the beginning of 2025, and then we'll have to transition to something else. I mean, that's what it's been. They moved to the do more, play more, get more, and then they introduced the My Plan. So it seems like every time somebody takes over this, the CEO consumer group, Hans allows them to introduce a new plan. I mean, we saw the Apple plan that Manon introduced. That one's done. I don't see that one anymore. So now the My Plan seems to be the main offering, and we'll see how long they keep that one around. So those are just some of the points that I wanted to cover from the earnings call, just to speak on that. Again, a concern of mine, the churn is still relatively high for having the best network, scientifically. And then JD Power just came out, and then Verizon believes that they have the best network, best engineers in the game. The churn is too high. So that signals there's something else. Is it networking anymore? I think the other carriers are getting better at networking. So I think it's positioning, price, go-to market, marketing. I think all of that plays a factor, brand as well. And Verizon just may not have it anymore, right? It used to be big on network because the other networks were so bad. Sprint sucked. T-Mobile sucked back then. AT&T was only 2 carriers on LTE, and a large part was still HSPA. But now that's different. It's not just Verizon anymore. You can choose another network and it'd be good enough for you. And then, like I mentioned before, there are other options now to still be on the Verizon network for less. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think about this quarter. If you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.